Welcome, everyone, to the Credible Nerds podcast. My name is Justin, and I'm here with my fellow Mandalorians, Blake and Nathan. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good.
Awesome. Yeah, and we are in season 3 of The Mandalorian. We'll be covering season 3, episodes 1 and 2. I believe that's is that like chapter 17, 18, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you've been listening to us, watching us for the past few episodes, we've finally caught up to The Mandalorian, the current season. I think we started 2 years ago, starting with, episode 1 of The Mandalorian and making our way forward. So here we are, finally caught up to where the show's at finally. So as far as this episode, there were some things that were like Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni went out and did, interviews and did the press stuff, kind of get everybody excited about The Mandalorian again. And one thing that was revealed was that, so in the book of Boba Fett, Grogu trains with Luke Skywalker and then eventually comes back, joins up with the Mandalorian again, with Din. And it was revealed that that whole process was like a 2-year training period for Grogu.
Yeah.
And what'd you guys think about that revelation? Did it fit? I mean, was it news to you, or what do you think, Blake?
I mean, it did. I expected maybe Grogu to have a little mustache or something.
Yeah, some facial hair.
But yeah,
Peach
like
fuzz.
teenage Grogu or something. But yeah, I mean, that worked. It was a surprise, though. I thought it was a shorter time period, but maybe that gives him a chance to have a little bit stronger mastery of the Force now, and that'll be cool.
Mm-hmm. What about for you, Nathan?
Yeah, it was a big surprise. I would have thought maybe at the most 2 or 3 weeks, or a month. I didn't think anywhere near 2 years. I thought it was kind of like in the book of Boba Fett, and almost made it look like, he's like, gosh, he's only been gone a couple weeks, and the Mandalorian was already like missing him and had to go see him. Yeah. And so when he did, I assume that's, he hadn't seen him for 2 years. So yeah, I certainly had the impression it was a much longer.
Yeah.
And, and just for only being there for being there for 2 years, the scenes that they showed him with Luke didn't seem like he had really grown that much in the Force or accomplished that much either. It seemed like he was almost like still just starting off. So I don't he may have said 2 years, but I don't know if they thought that through when they filmed those scenes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Some good points. And it's a good question that they did define it, whether it fits what we saw or not, because one of the questions I've always had when watching Empire Strikes Back is, how long was Luke training with Yoda on Dagobah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Movie gives it, same thing, a couple weeks at most, a few days. Then he's off to save his friends in Bespin. But there's always that question, well, how long does it take to travel through space? The Falcon didn't have its hyperdrive. How long did it take? So those are all a lot of unanswered questions, and that, with The Mandalorian, that kind of defines it a little bit more for us. And I think, 2 years, he can learn a lot. And he already learned some stuff when he was on Coruscant in the Jedi Temple, training there during... before he got kidnapped, fled, or whatever it was from the Jedi Temple in Order 66. So I like it. It doesn't seem like it was 2 years, but I like it.
Yeah.
So how old is Grogu then at this point?
52.
52 years old.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. The first 2 seasons.
Oh yeah, that's true.
How long would they have taken?
So maybe another couple.
Maybe he's 54.
Yeah.
53, 54, 55.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So he's still pretty young for that species, I guess.
Yeah.
And
still older than me.
That's right.
Yeah.
Still waiting on his first words.
Yeah, they did bring that up later on in the episode.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever actually hear him talk?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, it is cute that he just kind of babbles and like,
and stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to hear sentences and what he's thinking and all that stuff.
That'll be tough though, because you don't go from babbling to like a complete sentence with, you know, structure and logic and like, hey Den, let's go to this planet. I'm really craving some baby frogs. You know.
Yeah.
So how do they make that transition? He's going to have like some sort of like baby talk kind of period,
Something.
right? And then are we gonna get like a teenage Grogu where he's
Where it's like, you're not my dad.
right? Some
You stole me from
ornery, some like
We're my real parents.
some moody prepubescent Grogu
Yeah.
who gets his ear pierced and wears heavy metal t-shirts and
Grows his hair out long.
grows his hair long, puts on Doc Martens and starts smoking weed.
Yeah, I think we'll see it. Season 6, right?
Yeah. I do hope he gets a little bigger. I mean, eventually he is going to have to grow, right? Too.
That's one thing they could have done to differentiate, show us, hey, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
Like make him a couple inches taller.
Just a couple inches. The floating baby carriage, you know, he's still flying around in. I don't know, maybe he could have
like a stroller.
like a mini speeder
Yeah.
kind of a thing. But
Speeder bike.
little mini speeder
Little
bike.
speeder walker.
A go-kart. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we'll see he'll start speaking up maybe even as early as this season because they did bring it up.
Yeah.
You know, why bring it up if you're not going to do anything with it?
Maybe he'll say it's Din or But if he says Dada, I'm like, oh no, come on,
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the girls will love it though. But
Yeah.
yeah, they will.
So, anyways, the episode starts off Lake Powell, right? That's got to be Lake Powell. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
So you've been there many times, Blake. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. In fact, we follow a group on Facebook, a Lake Powell group, and it blew up after the episode. There were all these postings about it and everything. So, yeah, it was pretty cool to see that there's still a little bit of water down there.
yeah. Will that be a next Star Wars homage, destination?
Yeah.
You know, now for people to go
Gotta find that cave.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. So there, we start off Lake Powell. Well, I guess it's not Lake Powell in the Star Wars universe, but you know, they're in this place. There's water. They're doing a baptism of a new, what do they call them? Foundling.
yeah,
And we get to see how that process works. The armorer is forging a new helmet for him. And one thing I noticed during the forging of the helmet, in the background, we see this skull, like pretty much every scene, just from different angles. Every angle they took, you could still see it in the background. So it was like heavy, what do you call it?
foreshadowing.
Of what's going to come next episode.
Yeah,
Of the Mythosaur skull. But she's forging this helmet, takes it out to the kid. He's probably 12,
yeah,
if that's young kid. And she puts the helmet on him. They're doing the ceremony. She dips the water in to kind of do the Catholic baptism. It looks like sprinkle the water on the head and
on the helmet.
on the helmet. And all hell breaks loose, right?
Yeah,
This big monster, looks like a big crocodile, starts attacking everybody.
yeah.
Pretty cool action sequence. As far to start off the season, the episode, I thought it was pretty cool. What were some of the thoughts you had, or some of the things you guys noticed about this opening sequence with this fight?
Well, it's always cool to see, you know, all the Mandalorians fighting together and you know, jetting around and things like that. But you know, one of my thoughts was you ought to just go in that cave, everybody.
Yeah.
Instead of keep fighting kind of there in the water, you know, right there with the monster. So, you know, I kind of kept thinking that, like, this doesn't seem like a fight you got to fight. Just go hang out in the cave. But but it, like you say, the visuals were really cool. There was one shot where one of the Mandalorians was like rocketing up after putting the bombs on the monster, and it blew up, and it's like a GoPro kind of view. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good visuals.
I agree. I liked it. Who do you guys think the kid was? Initially, I thought it was like a flashback for Din.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought it might have been some sort of, but then the armor probably wouldn't have been the one putting the armor on Din, but
Yeah.
I had the first thought. Maybe that wasn't Din, maybe I didn't know, but that was my first instinct or thought as well, is this a flashback or something like that, to that effect. But I do wonder if that kid was maybe a relative to the armor,
That's the impression I got.
or probably actually more than likely maybe related to one of the other ones. His name escapes me, the big one. What's his name?
That's very good as well. But that was my thought too.
Yeah, not Fazla, but
Oh,
Vizsla. Yeah, there you go.
Paz Vizsla.
Yeah, I thought maybe he was like his kid or maybe a nephew or something like that. Yeah.
That's cool that you thought of that, because that's what I thought. Because the way the camera was lingering, it'd go from him to the armor, and then him to Paz Vizsla. So my thought was, it's their kid. Like, they're a couple.
Yeah.
It's their child.
Oh, I don't think they're.
You don't think?
I don't think the armor and Paz Vizsla are a thing, but
Yeah, maybe not. Well, it's either one of theirs or maybe both of theirs.
yeah,
Those are my thoughts. But in reality, it's Jimmy Kimmel's nephew.
yeah,
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
yeah. I've heard that,
I read that. I was like, oh, okay.
There you go.
ABC, Disney.
and he's been in some other stuff. This isn't his first acting job either, apparently. So yeah.
Cool.
Did a good job.
Yeah, he did good. So Din comes flying in just out of nowhere in his N1 Naboo speeder that's been souped up. And
Yeah.
takes out that big monster, and guts go flying everywhere. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then he has a conversation with the armorer. We kind of saw it in Book of Boba Fett, I believe.
Yeah,
Where it's like, hey, you got to go to the mines of Mandalore, get baptized, or dip yourself in the waters, and you'll be forgiven of your sins. And he's like, well, if I can do that and bring you back proof, am I forgiven? Am I back in the clan?
yeah.
And she's like, yep, that'll do it.
Well,
Which-
she made it sound like, well, you can't be here because you haven't done that, and there's no way you'll ever do it. So get out. And he's like, hey, you said.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you haven't done it yet. But you're saying, like,
Well, I was just saying, I mean, it's a pretty strict situation there. I mean, they don't even think the waters of Mandalore even exist.
Yeah.
And then he swooped in and saved all of them.
Yeah.
And that's still not enough
Yeah.
to kind of repent for taking his helmet off for a couple of minutes.
yeah,
That's a tough one to live by.
Yeah. Why would you want to join the group?
right.
And once I was wondering, like, you're wearing that helmet the whole time, and then all of a sudden you're to that point where you're kind of shunned and an outcast.
Why not
I'd
take it
the
off?
helmet off.
Yeah.
I'd wear a baseball cap or something for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you're out. So what's
you're out, yeah, until you get back in.
Yeah. So that kind of sets up at least the next couple episodes.
Yeah.
So, and it was hinted earlier, so we kind of know what's going to happen here. We had been speculating about it in previous episodes. So Grogu's there with him, and you kind of see the armor, the Mandalorian or the Beskar armor
Yeah.
that Luke was saying.
The chainmail.
The chainmail.
Yeah. See it under his robe.
Yeah. So it was like, do you want the lightsaber or do you want the armor?
Mm-hmm.
He chose the chainmail.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that. I do hope he does have a lightsaber though at some point. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But
Can
yes.
you have a lightsaber and not be a Jedi?
Yeah.
I mean,
General Grievous.
yeah.
But
Bit like know how like be like
yeah.
like having a lightsaber doesn't make you a Jedi, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, it's part of the process, but it's not like the thing.
yeah.
So
I kind of wish it was though. I kind of wish like only Jedi could use lightsabers, and in order for them to use them, you had to have like use the Force to turn it on, and and if you didn't work Force sensitive, you couldn't turn it on. That
It's got a little needle that checks your midichlorian.
yeah.
count.
There you go.
yeah.
Otherwise, it blows up your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they have hinted at that in the sense that, Din We see it later. He struggles with the Darksaber.
Yeah.
And it's because he's not connecting with the Kyber crystal in the Darksaber, which powers the lightsaber, right?
That's true.
So and we see it in the Clone Wars where they do show some younglings going to this planet, to find Kyber crystals, and it calls out to them, and they have a connection, and that's the one they pick to power their lightsaber. So there is some precedent there. The more connected they are with the Force through their Kyber crystal, it helps them with their lightsaber.
Yeah.
So, but it's not an exclusive thing like we see with General Grievous and a couple others. I think, so him and Grogu are like, yeah, we're gonna go do that. But first, he's got to find a droid to help him because he believes that Mandalore is poisonous, it's cursed, it's all these bad things. So he wants a droid that he can send out, and not, the droid isn't going to die from poison. So,
right.
So he goes back to Nevarro. We meet up with Greef Karga again, and we see that Nevarro is prosperous. What do you guys think about the change in Nevarro compared? My wife even said, where are they? What happened? Where is this place?
Yeah.
Because it's so different, she didn't recognize it from the first, the other episodes.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about this change in Nevarro?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I think that helped with the 2-year, kind of what we talked about earlier. You go, okay, that makes sense. It took some time, but old Greef Karga, he turned a corner, and he's a magistrate or something, and
high magistrate
from Bounty Hunter, and
right.
so that's pretty cool. It seems like he runs a pretty tight ship too, and nice. That looked like a nice place to live.
Yeah. Which I guess they would need the 2 years, right? Because that's not, you don't get that kind of development overnight. But it does kind of add to the narrative that because the Empire did have some sort of, and the Guild had an influence on that city, and now that that's kind of gone, how he's kind of been able to take that and bring in commerce and made it, this city now that people can enjoy and appreciate, and it's got an economy, and of course he's taken himself to kind of be the leader and has little robots carrying his train.
I
thought that was kind of
funny. A protocol droid with him too.
Yeah.
So we saw a glow up from season 1 to season 2 they were having a school. That's when Grogu went to school and had the cookies. Excuse me. So there was some development between 1 and 2, but between 2 and 3, it's a whole new place.
Yeah.
It's definitely that much more prosperous. And he mentioned that it's a major stopping point along the Hydean Way, which is a hyperspace route, one of the main routes. So now ships can stop there, refuel, trade, all that stuff. So there's that economic aspect, but then they're also mining ore or something from the asteroid belt that's close by, and we see a little bit of that later. So they're doing their thing. They're going to be a major player here, in my guess, here in a couple of years.
Yeah, we probably will see it in a movie or certainly a video game reference, probably.
Yeah,
in the future, absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the funniest parts of the episode was he wants Din to be the new sheriff, or he's like, hey, or at least live there. Hey, stay here. And he's like, no, I gotta take care of Grogu. We gotta do something. He's like, who?
Yeah.
Grogu, that's his name. He's like,
if you say so.
Yeah, if you say so. Which is a lot of people's attitude, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay. If we have to call him Grogu, we will, but he's Baby Yoda.
Yeah. The kid. The baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny.
What do you think of them calling Din his dad? They're always like, hey, where's your dad?
Yeah.
I'm kind of like,
it seems a little weird.
I don't know. I want him to be calling his dad. That seems a little weird, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe adoptive dad. I mean, plus, yeah. I'm not sold on that yet.
Yeah,
we'll see. Then we see there's these pirates that show up, And this part seemed off until I kind of read more about it. And basically, the pirates show up. They want to drink in the school. And it's like, well, it's not a bar anymore. It's a school. And they get mad. I thought it was kind of forced.
Yeah.
Like, well, why can't they just go to the
bar?
The bar down the street.
Yeah.
So there's a confrontation there. They shoot all of the pirates except for the leader. And he runs off to tell his boss, hey.
Yeah. So that's got to be a setup for a future episode, right? Because he escapes. Well, they have the shootout, but then when he's leaving, obviously he has that big space battle. And then the boss and the big ship, the head pirate, he's like, we see him. So we're pretty sure we're going to see him again in a future episode. He's going to come flying in because
what it is, it's a setup for a whole new series.
Oh,
is that right?
Yeah, called Skeleton Crew with Jude Law.
Oh.
And that just wrapped up production. So we'll see it later this year, maybe early next year.
Jude Law.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jude Law plays what character? A new character?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah. They haven't really released much other than it's like pirates. And there was a release saying this is, this main pirate guy is going to be in this new show.
Well, there you go.
So that's why it seemed a little forced. It was like, hey, here's these guys you never met before, and now they're gone.
Yeah, they made that connection. And obviously there was a connection to the Book of Boba Fett with those guys and everything that happened there. But yeah, that's cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it does sound interesting. So yeah, he has that space battle. We see a little bit of the mining stuff on the asteroids as they're flying around. It was cool to see just kind of Din you don't see him, and all of a sudden you see his ship blow up.
Yeah.
And then you see another ship blow up, and he comes flying by. He's doing all this stealth attack. Pretty cool episode, or part of the episode.
I felt like I was watching Star Tours. I'm like, this looks really familiar. I think I've been on this ride.
But he's able to escape. He has a conversation with the main mossy looking guy, but he escapes. And I think this is where we see... Maybe it was here or right before they got to Nevarro. There's the hyperspace scene. They're going through the hyperspace lane, and Grogu sees these whales. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
Is that something that you were aware of?
It wasn't.
Space whales?
It wasn't. But
is that what they were?
Yeah.
Space whales?
Space whales.
Yeah, I wasn't. And then I looked it up after the fact and read up a little bit about them.
They looked a lot like real whales.
They were.
I thought it was like Star Trek 4.
Hey,
maybe.
Hey, Captain Kirk, you dropped a couple whales. That tank you built wasn't strong enough. But apparently they were in the Clone Wars. Is that where we first see them?
Well, maybe we saw them in Clone Wars, but we get their story
in Rebels.
And I didn't buy it in Rebels.
You're like,
I was like, this is kind of silly. But yeah, there are these whales. They fly through space, and they're able to harness this gas that's throughout the galaxy. And they bathe in it, breathe it in, or whatever, and then they leave. And they jump to hyperspace with this gas that they've inhaled or ingested.
Okay. I've had gas like that before.
I was hoping it was more of like they just lived like almost like a different dimension, and that's you can only see them
in
hyperspace because they only exist in that world or that dimension of hyperspace where you're traveling that fast and time slows down or some weird thing like that. So in other words, what you're saying is they can slow down and therefore like just swim around space in regular speed.
Yep.
But every once in a while they feel the need to get somewhere really quickly.
Yeah. Yep.
Do they ever go to a planet, or do they just stay out in space?
I don't think we've seen that. We've only seen them in space.
And what do they eat? Do they need is there space plankton out there that they're
maybe? Yeah, midichlorians.
Yeah, it's the exhaust. It's the hyperspace exhaust.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Sometimes we probably need to think things through a little more, but all right.
So the reason I believe they showed us this, because it is pretty far out there for the general public, is at the end of Rebels, there's the big battle, and one of the main characters, Ezra, is fighting with the main bad guy at the time, Admiral Thrawn.
Okay.
The blue-skinned guy.
Yep.
That we'll see
later.
And they're like in a ship. The ship's going to blow up. The space whales come in, grab the ship that they're on, and just book it. They jump hyperspace, and we don't know what happens.
They save the character.
Yeah, and Admiral Thrawn. And so in the Ahsoka episode of last season, she's looking for someone, her boss, Admiral Thrawn, because she wants to find Ezra, because they worked together in Rebels. So that's the setup for the Ahsoka series that is coming out later this year, hopefully.
Which I've heard they've pushed back again.
Okay.
Yeah, they've pushed it back a couple times, but
yeah. So that's that connection. I'd never been a fan of the space whales, so when I saw them, I was like, oh, great.
There they are.
Yeah. But I think they're going to be a breadcrumb to something later.
Okay.
So that's what that's all about. So then they go to the Mandalore system, or they were unable to find the droid IG-11 fix him, right?
Yeah, which I liked the character, the little guys from the new trilogy. They're pretty funny.
They're fun.
Yeah,
well, and there was a cool kind of Terminator-esque scene.
Yeah,
where he goes after Grogu a couple of times.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool to see.
Yeah,
and then we got a great one-liner, right?
Yeah, and Grogu's got him in a headlock, or he's hugging him. I like those characters. Those little characters are pretty funny.
Yeah,
and they're like, we can't fix it. And then what changed their mind? We can fix it.
I don't remember.
What was it?
It was something that there was like, we can't fix it, and then something happens like, we can do that. If he's like, well, what if I get the parts? And I'm like, if you get the parts, then sure, we can fix it.
Yeah. So that whole sequence with Grogu and those guys, and then you got Apollo Creed out in the. They say he's broken.
Yeah,
I heard
that. Did that look like Luke in Yoda's little hut with Mando sitting there all hunched over, watching him work on him?
Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah. So also on Nevarro, we learned that Cara Dune has been recruited to the Special Forces, I believe, the Special Forces, and then Gideon, he's sent off to the New Republic War Tribunal. So we kind of learn what happened to those guys.
That's right.
So I don't think we'll be seeing either of them in this season.
No, but I hope we see Gideon back.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be back. Maybe at the end of the season, but
he's too good of a actor, too good of a bad guy,
right?
For us to let him go like that.
Yeah,
yeah. Even if it's just like a prison scene where someone goes and sees him in prison or something like that.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
So then they escape pirates, head to Mandalore system, and they go to there's the planet Mandalore, and then there's I think they're moons. There's Concordia, and there's a lot that happened on Concordia in the Clone Wars. That's where the Death Watch was stationed. And then there's this other moon where Bo Katan is now staying at.
Yeah.
In her castle all by herself.
Yeah.
Just sitting on that stone throne.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what do you do? And why did you get all dressed up?
And they always sit kind of sideways with their leg over the throne.
Right.
No pad. Just like a little cushion.
I'm pretty sure if I was I would what do you get up and get all dressed up and just walk
in case
out
somebody comes.
Yeah, right. I'm like, wouldn't you just be laying in bed and still in your pajamas, having the droid bring you breakfast in bed and flipping through the TV? I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, she's there. It's the planet or the moon Kalbala. So he visits Bo Katan. She tells him, I'm not going to help you.
Yeah.
But she does reveal that she came back without the Darksaber, and all her people left.
Yeah.
And are now mercenaries in the galaxy.
Yeah. her goal, her mission was a failure.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't get Moff Gideon. She didn't get the Darksaber. So she's basically a king without a kingdom, right?
Yeah, a failed leader.
Yeah.
So it's good. That's another thing that feeds into the 2-year period, right?
Mm-hmm.
Enough time where everyone's deserted her. She's by herself. She's hopeless, wondering what's going on. What's she going to do next? And then shows up again, and she tells him, yeah, the waters that you got to bathe in are under the Civic Center on the main city there.
Yeah. Is that like the Staples Center?
Yeah, something like that. The Salt Palace. You got to go.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay. So they leave. Oh, we forgot the Tatooine reunion.
Oh,
He
yeah.
does go back to Tatooine. Visits Pelimoto.
To get the part, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she's fraternizing with some Jawas again. She's actually, it sounds like she's running a scheme. A Ponzi scheme. No, not a Ponzi scheme.
Wait, was that in this episode or the next one?
Wasn't it this one?
Well, he goes there. I think you're right. I think it was in the second episode.
The second episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
It's a good segue.
I think it begins with that episode, doesn't it? That's in the beginning.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So he goes, doesn't get help from Bo Katan, and then he heads to Tatooine. Sounds like.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. So they go back and meets up with. No, don't they go? They go to the planet first.
So does he go to Bo Katan to find out if he can really make it to the planet? She's like, yeah, you can go there, but it's,
But you got to go down.
Yeah.
So then he
goes to
get a
Nevarro
droid.
to get the droid, and then he goes to, and then it ends. But I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we're a little mixed up on the timeline. But he does go to Tatooine to get a droid because he can't get the IG. No, he goes to get the part for IG-11 on Tatooine.
Oh, yeah.
But Pelimoto talks him into just, hey, here's R5D4 that we've been seeing the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
Which is what you look for in a splunking droid.
Yeah, an astromech
Spelunking.
with wheels.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's running a scheme where she has the Jawas steal parts off people's speeder, and then she repaints them and fixes the problem.
Yeah.
And charges these people.
Yeah. She's quite the criminal, isn't she?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. She's got a little scheme going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what did you think of her speaking Jawaiese?
That was kind of cool.
Did you like that?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah. I thought it was cool too.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Well, she, is friends with Jawas.
Yeah. Didn't she say she
dated a
She
Jawa.
dated one. She said she dated one.
Yeah.
But what did she say? Too hairy? Or she didn't
Something like that. Yeah. She let us in on that secret last season. So okay.
Dated a Jawa once. Didn't like all the hair.
Yeah. So, but we learned that it's another Easter egg is that it's Bunta Eve,
Yeah.
and there's a big party. There's fireworks. There's pod racing. Everyone's having a good time. So Din he ends up taking R5 as a second choice, and they head back to Mandalore. And they land, and when they're coming in, it's everything has this green glass looking.
Yeah.
Because it used to be sandy. When the nuclear bombs went off, it's turned it into glass. Right?
Yeah.
We saw a little bit of that in the beginning of the first episode.
So why does it look like that's all on, like, in the atmosphere? Because when they actually go through the cave and they see the city, it's down below. So why is the glass all above the civic centers or the cities? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be down? Weren't these cities like in big domes with like big dome covers, and then the glass on the ground around them? So how's the glass up above and over the cities? I couldn't quite figure that out.
I think it was just the destruction, They destroyed the domes, and then the cities were in the domes and also down. Like they went into the mines, way down into the
okay.
So I think it's just the scale of the city was so big, and some of it broke up.
Okay.
That was my take on it. Kind of like an earthquake. It
That makes sense.
makes everything different. But we see the ruins of the main city, Sundari. I think that's what it's called. But we see that first in the Clone Wars. It's in this dome. It's really pretty. But here we see the destruction of it. What do you guys think of this story of the Empire bombing this place and now it's ruins? Like, does that have any appeal for you guys to
Yeah, I love it.
kind of learn about the history here? Or what do you guys think?
Yeah, it was the whole they were fighting amongst themselves, and then they weren't ready for the greater threat. So yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
It just it brings a gravity, because when you watch these movies, they always the Empire always ends up losing, right? Every time, practically.
Yeah.
And so even though there's this big threat, like sometimes you get to a point and you're like, they're not that threatening. So showing something like this shows that, yeah, they can be. We don't really see it, in the TV shows and the films. We see moments where they're pretty ruthless, but in the end, the overall arching story is they always get defeated. Mm-hmm. So, but to be able to do that suggests that, they have quite the arsenal and quite the firepower. So you can understand why they're feared, generally speaking. But it's because of events that happen or occur that we don't see typically.
I think the only thing we saw with that is there was a flashback of a bunch of TIE bombers coming in and just dropping bombs. And that's what caused the destruction.
Yeah.
The Night of 1,000 Tears is what they're calling it.
1001.
Yes. And there is a lot of, again, in this episode, in this story, really is a lot of religious undertones with the Jewish people. I think if you're going to compare the Empire to Nazis and Hitler and all that stuff, which they do, they have been for quite some time, you would bring in a group that also represents the Jews, because they were the biggest casualty, I guess, of Hitler and his regime was the Jewish people, what he did to them. And they call it diaspora, I believe, the scattering.
Yeah, because the Jews were scattered, right? Mm-hmm. So I could see that.
So Mandalorians, their homeland was destroyed. They were scattered throughout the galaxy because of the Empire. So there's that whole comparison going on. I think we'll see a lot of, crossover there.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of cool to have that. But Din lands. He sees that it's not poisonous once he gets to past the clouds into the lower atmosphere and lands, and sends R5 out, and he gets waylaid.
Yeah.
So he goes out there. He's able to seal his mask off and head off, and he finds these monsters. He has a duel with them. What do you guys think about that whole? There's life on Mandalore, despite what he's been told.
I had a feeling that there would be. I didn't think it'd be too easy, but I did think it was funny that he sent the droid out. Like, we want to make sure that this is safe. Send the droid out, and then when something happens to the droid, you go. Instead of like, all right, it wasn't safe, we're gonna head out. But no, I couldn't get really a good look at the monsters that he fought. I don't know. I would have liked to get a little better look at them, but that was pretty cool.
And since you bring them up, they looked pretty menacing, and they didn't look like the special effects to create them. They look like live action with maybe prosthetics, but they looked really good. Mm-hmm. A lot better than like a other type of live effects that we see, where they look kind of rubbery and wiggle. You can tell they're like their ears are kind of bouncing around, and you're like, oh, that's not real. These things look pretty cool.
They kind of reminded me, it's been brought up many times, but I picked up on it too, the Morlocks from the Time Machine, I believe. It was from that show.
Yeah, they did kind of remind me of that as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was cool. They had some competition there. We see him try to wield the Darksaber. He's still struggling with, 2 years later, trying to master that. It's just too heavy for him.
Yeah.
He's not connecting with that kyber crystal.
I don't think he ever will, to be honest.
Let's talk about that. Well, no, we'll get there in a minute. So he goes, defeats them, him and Grogu to go further down to the mines. They go down in these caverns. They get waylaid by this mechanical monster. Pretty cool design.
Yeah, that was cool.
He gets captured, Din gets captured. What do you guys think about that whole part of it with this mechanical threat?
Yeah, that was one of the more menacing, characters we've seen with that eye, and then that was pretty cool, pretty scary.
Yeah.
It startled me. I was like, I jumped. There was a little bit of a jump scare when those claws came out and grabbed him.
You're like, I thought Star Wars was for kids.
Yeah. I had to run and hide behind the couch for a few seconds. Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool. But when I saw it, like this big giant crab thing in that eye, when it comes out, like you see that eye, and I'm like, is that kind of like, is it an all robot? Is it an android? Is it half? What do we got going on here? I'm like, there's definitely some genetic material in there. So is it like a General Grievous kind of a scenario, kind of a thing? So I was really curious to see. And then when it disconnects and comes out in that robot, or that, two-legged or four-legged walking thing around, it reminded me a lot of the Netflix series, The Lost in Space, the robot that's protecting the family. It looks there's a lot of characters that they're making these days that have like the one eye or one mouth kind of thing forward, and it kind of reminded me of that. But I thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like he has the one eye left. Maybe he's only had ever one eye, but there's the one eye that we see, and so there's got to be like a brain attached there somewhere. Else, how is he gonna, think and do stuff? But that was pretty creepy. How his head is like a cockroach that scurries off to the next body.
Yeah. I thought that was way cool. So it was a robot within like a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, I didn't know. So is he sucking his blood? Is he draining? Because it looked like clear fluid to me.
And it was like a hose. That wasn't a little IV. That thing was. Yeah. You could water your lawn with that.
Yeah. And Mando was like, ooh. Like, I think I would have made a bigger noise than that. Son of a.
Yeah. But so he gets captured, and this part was a little kind of a stretch, but he's like, go get help, Grogu.
Go get Bo Katan.
Yeah. So he gets in his carrier, shoots up to the surface, gets in the ship, goes to the other planet.
He's a good pilot, though.
Points to the screen.
Yeah.
That one.
R5 takes off. And the whole turnaround I thought was
pretty quick.
It's like, I'm sure that took like 5 hours.
Yeah. He'd be dead
least.
By now.
Yeah. But Bo-Katan's able to figure it out, like, it's like Lassie, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing was she's like, he's back.
Yeah.
We're going to take care of him for good.
Yeah.
Wait, he's in trouble?
Yeah, I didn't get that. When I watched it, I didn't get the impression that she's like, let's get rid of him for good. I didn't think she was going to go out and kill him. I thought she was just going to say, like, go away and don't come back kind of a thing. But is that what you thought? She was like going to go out and fight him?
No, I thought she was going to go, kick him to the curb.
Go yell at him. Yeah. Get out of here.
Yeah. Stop visiting me.
Yeah.
Can't you see I'm busy?
So she's like, oh, he's on Mandalore? Oh, he's under the Civic Center? A monster's got him? She heads out in her cool ship. It lands. Grogu's on her ship with R5. Grogu leads her back to him. She's able to free him. She uses the Darksaber to battle this droid thing.
Yeah.
And defeats him. and then they head back to the surface. They head back, and she kind of nurses Din back.
Yeah.
Maybe that took another 2 years. We don't know. But
Pog juice, was it? Gives
Yeah.
it some pog soup.
yeah,
I heard that, and I'm like, wait, pogs? Like, you mean those things that kids used to like trade and slam and throw around back in the what was it, the 90s or 80s?
80s.
Yeah, remember? Did you collect pogs?
I didn't collect them, but I know of them. Yeah.
You had the pogs, then you had the slammer, right?
Yep, and if you could flip the pogs, you won.
Oh yeah, that's
you
right.
won them.
Yeah, and then you're stealing guys' pogs.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see him drink. You know, he kind of lifts up his helmet, can't take it off. He lifts it
Yeah.
up and drinks. I thought it was like,
You'd think if you were a Mandalorian, you'd have a straw. Like one of the metal ones you just like made out of Beskar.
Beskar straw.
kind of pull it out of your pouch.
Yeah.
Got my lucky straw.
That helmet can do a lot of amazing things. He doesn't have a way to eat without you having to like tilt it up.
Yeah.
Design flaw.
Well, and again, it's like he's already an outcast. Bo Katan doesn't believe that stuff.
Yeah, just
Take
take
it
it off.
Take it off, yeah.
Drink the soup. Drink the pog soup.
Yeah, I guess he would. I mean, if you're gonna, when you do something wrong, even though you were like, you probably still shouldn't do it again.
Sure, yeah.
Otherwise, you're probably would not look good. You're like, well, till I walk in the waters, it's a party time, right?
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want.
Maybe I'm a bad person, but that was
Yeah.
my approach.
What's
My
that TV
mindset.
show? Where they let the Amish kids go out
Oh yeah, for a year.
for a
to-
year and party
to
it up.
explore.
I don't think I saw that one.
It's a regular TV show. Yeah, they're like, all right, go sow your wild oats for wild oats for a year and see if you like living out there and if you can stay or you can come back. And that's what it reminded me of. I thought my Mando's out there.
Yeah.
We got a lot of religious references in
Yeah,
this
we do.
episode.
Yeah. So speaking of bathing in the waters, she agrees to take him. They go down a different route, and she kind of tells him the story of, when I was a kid, I went down here and bathed in the waters, and she's not a believer
No.
of the whole thing. She didn't necessarily mock it, but she was like kind of disregarding it. It's like, oh, well, that's what I did, and I don't believe that stuff anymore.
Yeah, so you'll have to explain it to me because she talks about how she took the creed, but at the time it sounds like she thought it was all just pomp and circumstance. She didn't really believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we also know that she joined the Watch, and they seem
The
to
Death Watch.
the Death Watch, and aren't they supposed to be kind of more of that? A stricter Mandalorian belief system. So what's
Yeah, I
So-
don't think it was at that time because they were the Death Watch, and then they became like it's the children of the Watch that are like the hardcore Creed followers.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's been explained, but that's the way I'm seeing it.
Okay, so the Watch or the Death Watch were not that strict.
No, they were always taking off their
They were
helmets.
taking, yeah, okay, and that's who she was part of.
Yeah, she joined them to help overthrow her sister so they could get back to their warrior ways. Mm-hmm. And
Because she wanted to be a pacifist, right?
this is
The
Queen's
sister, the
sister,
queen, yeah. She's like, no more fighting, or like, that's what we're Mandalorians. That's what we do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't be a Mandalorian and not fight.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was the Death Watch's take on things. So.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently at some point they did all the pomp and circumstance, the rituals, but didn't necessarily follow it. It sounds like that's
Yeah.
a good point. We learned that Mandalore the Great, was that the reference? The first Mandalore.
She reads the plaque.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they settled the planet, defeated or tamed the Mythosaur.
Yeah. Not defeated or killed. He tamed him, right?
Yep.
Well, and that's his name. That's where what was his that's where the Mandalore name comes from, was his name, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. So we get a little history lesson there. Din takes off his backpack, puts down his weapons, and starts to walk in, and then all of a sudden, whoop, he was gone.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought about that. I was like, so I was wondering how much clothes he was going to go in with.
Right. Yeah.
He's gonna strip down
And
naked.
I mean, that Beskar is pretty
Heavy,
heavy.
yeah.
And anyway, yeah, he went
He's gonna
down.
take everything. The creed is you can take everything off, but your helmet.
That's right.
There
There you go. There you
Standing
go.
there, buck naked with the helmet on.
That's right. I was surprised. I mean, like, have you ever? I half expected this to be like one of those really bad hot springs or something that you find in the mountains.
Yeah.
It smells like sulfur.
Yeah. Right.
As they come up, maybe a couple of old naked people get out and
Startle you. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
excuse me.
I can see that.
Hilarious. Put on their bathrobes.
The water's fine. Come on in.
So he sinks to the bottom, and Bo Katan jumps in after him, grabs him, and on their way up, we see the Mythosaur, right?
Oh, dun dun dun.
Big dinosaur-like thing, dragon-looking thing, living in the water. What'd you guys think about that?
So
That was the first live-action reveal.
yeah
ever.
So I'm confused. The impression they give is that something grabs him and pulls
Yeah.
him in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It looked like
That's what I thought.
he just got sucked down. I was surprised.
But
yeah.
when she goes in after him, they don't really see anything. He's just falling. He's just sinking. There's nothing holding him or dragging him. She reaches him, and then she went right by the Mythosaur because she turned her light off, so she didn't see it, so that she could see him. And then she turns her light on. They're going back. That's when she sees it. And when she does see it, she freaks out. But the Mythosaur just seems to open his eyes and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
And then she just flies right off and lands, and that's it. So they explain that to me. Did the Mythosaur grab him, or did something else grab him? And was it the Mythosaur, and when they were flying up, are Mythosaurs supposed to be like something that they're supposed to be scared of, or is it like because it's there, it's like, hey, what's up? Long time no see.
Yeah. Oh, these guys, they're back.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't get.
There's a lot of good questions.
Explain that to me.
A lot of great questions. We don't have the answer to those.
Oh, okay.
But
Blake does though.
yeah, you stayed up all night watching YouTube
I did.
videos, right?
I did. Well, I did actually. I wondered about that, like what grabbed him or whatever, and everything I read said he just sunk.
Yeah.
And so
He just tripped and fell with his
guess.
really heavy
Beskar.
best
like
car.
if you ever swim, have you ever swam in sweat? I
Yeah.
mean, you go down pretty quick.
Yeah. But he was unconscious too.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
that's the thing. He didn't even put up a fight.
Yeah,
It was weird.
he just got sucked in, and then he's
Like
just sinking like he's
Yeah.
unconscious.
yeah.
And she goes in and rescues him, pulls him out, and the Mythosaur doesn't like lunge after him or move towards
I was
him or
expecting
nothing.
that like, he would kind of move his head and like try to bite him or
Yeah,
something.
there was nothing like that. It just kind of was like, hey, hello, someone there?
Yeah.
He woke
Kind of
me up.
expecting him to follow him up,
Yeah,
try to bite him. Yeah. I don't know. Those are some good points that he did. It did appear that he got grabbed and pulled under, kind of like what we saw in episode 4 in the trash compactor where
Yeah.
Dianoga grabbed him.
and with as big as the Mythosaur is,
Yeah.
it would like
Be like a little.
you'd have to like its hand. Would have to. How could you not see its hand or claw grab him?
Grab him. Yeah.
What do you use his little pinchers and just grab his toe?
toe,
I don't get it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
something needs to be explained to me.
And hopefully we'll see it next episode. And how did he get unconscious, right?
Yeah,
What happened there? Did he see the Mythosaur? Or was it just Bo Katan and she's going to tell him, I saw the Mythosaur. What? I
Yeah.
don't believe you. So,
and then the other questions are: the Mythosaurs are supposed to be all gone. At least no one's probably seen one.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't mean there isn't one out there. There's just no one knows. And this pool is where the first one was found. So is this one the first one, or is this one a relative of that one? Do they always just live underwater?
yeah. Good question.
And do they ever come out? I think they do, right? Because didn't he tame it and use it in a battle?
Yeah.
Kind of like, Avatar, the shadow demon flying thing.
Well, in the first episode of the show, when he meets up with Quill to go find Grogu, he's riding those beasts, right? Mm-hmm. And Quill mentions, you come from the race of Mandalore who tamed the great Mythosaur to ride into battle, or whatever he said. So that's been established already that they've tamed them, they've rode them. So I
they're
think
their
we'll see
pet.
that. Yeah,
maybe that's why it was so cool.
Yeah.
And then Bo Katan. What does this mean now, right? What are we thinking? Okay, this is what I'm thinking. They showed Bo Katan use the Darksaber quite fluidly, quite easily. Yeah. She's had it in her possession before. She's used it before. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It used to be hers. So it probably feels not only familiar, but like she's got it back in her possession. So because she rescued him from the Mythosaur, does she get rights to the Darksaber now?
I think she won it in battle, right?
I mean, like
it's a little bit of a technicality.
Or does she maybe grab it and go down? Or maybe what she'll do is like she'll be the one who tames the Mythosaur, because as I said earlier, I don't think the Darksaber is going to stay with Din. I don't think if their plans are to bring the Mandalores back to Mandalore and start their city again and start rebuilding, I don't see Din being a leader of the Mandalorians. I see him kind of being more like that's not my thing. I'm gonna go back to being a bounty hunter, loner kind of a guy with my buddy.
Yeah, I gotta raise Grogu for the next 250 years.
Right? Yeah.
Gotta get him to adulthood.
Yeah. So I think they're setting up something for her to kind of eventually get back to that spot where she does have the Darksaber, and maybe they, start some sort of like, everyone come back to Mandalore, we're taking it back kind of a thing. What do you guys think?
Yeah. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah. I mean, I always kind of thought that he'd be kind of a reluctant leader for a little bit, and then, through some adventure, give it up to Bo Katan. But now it seems like that's what they did with this whole situation. He lost the Darksaber. She won it as she fought the little arachnid thing, and seems like it's in her possession now. So, but I kind of do think that at this point it'll probably play out like that.
I didn't think about that. The fact that he was using it and got defeated by that giant robot, and then she picked it up and defeated the robot. Mm-hmm. But isn't it? What is the rule? Do you have to win it in battle? In other words, does that mean you have to fight the person who currently owns it? Right.
That's what's been shown to us earlier. Yeah, that's what's been established. I don't know if that's the rule, but that's what we've seen. Mm-hmm. You have to defeat the person that currently has it in a one-on-one battle.
Mm. Maybe we should ask Dumbledore and the wand.
Yeah. So, but I think that you make a good point, Blake. He was defeated, lost the Darksaber, and she came in and rescued him and had it with the saber. I think that's valid.
I didn't think about that, but that is something that they might try to say in the series. So yeah.
And Din doesn't want it.
Yeah,
he doesn't care. She does. So I think that's a good way to get around it. Yeah. I too don't think Din's going to be the savior. He may be the savior, but he's not going to be the leader at the end of the day. I think Bo Katan is. She's the displaced leader. She wants to get back to being the leader, so I think that's going to be her role. However that happens, I think maybe Din helps her get to that point.
Yeah.
But, I don't think he wants it like you guys. I don't think that's his role. But I do think we've seen Grogu have these connections to be able to defeat creatures or connect with creatures. Mm-hmm. We saw it with the Mudhorn thing in the first season. Mm-hmm. Then we saw it with the Rancor in Book of Boba Fett, how he tamed it. So I think that's how they're going to tame the Mythosaur. He's going to step in. Maybe he comes out of the deep and attacks the 2 Mandalorians, but he's going to be the person to calm it down. And I think that's my prediction that we'll see that.
That's your prediction.
Yeah.
So did the Mandalorian? Did Din finish bathing?
I think
Because
so.
he was like mid-sentence when that happened.
He didn't complete the...
I don't think so. Yeah, the same thing, and even with the kid at the beginning when he was taking the creed, he didn't finish it either, right?
Yeah.
Before the big alligator thing jumped out. But
I think that specifically shows us that it's not done for this scene. I think that was the purpose of it. It's a good point.
Yeah. So he's still
He's got to do that again.
he's got to do that
He's got to
again.
watch for that shelf then.
Yeah.
Next time.
It's like when
That last
you're
steps
doing the
of doozy.
baptism and your toes come up out of the water,
Yeah.
and the witnesses are like, "Nope,
Yeah.
do it again." It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
You're not fully immersed,
Yeah.
so or you mess up on the prayer.
And you have to have everything off but your helmet.
Yeah, we don't want you sinking to the bottom again.
Yeah.
So cool stuff. And the next episode is coming up soon.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Now, I've never bothered. Have you guys ever I've heard people say it comes out
2 a.m.
Super early, and they just stay up. Because I've woken up on Wednesday mornings and there's already YouTube reviews and Easter egg videos. I'm like, what are these?
We're doing that, right?
It's like
we're
a
staying up
race.
till 2 a.m. tonight.
Yeah, with all these YouTuber vlogger, I don't know what you call them, but you wake up in the morning and half of them have already got videos out on them, and I guess it's a race to get the views. The sooner you get your content out, you know.
That's how we were with the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
This year.
We're not doing it this time. There's too much work.
Too funny.
I mean, we knew all along that it was a 2-year period, right? That's why we did the whole process in 2 years.
Right?
Yeah, we wanted people to really feel like it was a 2 years.
Yeah. 2-year journey for Grogu.
Yeah, we modeled the reviews off of that time
Real
frame.
time.
Yeah.
We modeled it in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we won't be doing that. I've always thought that was silly. Oh, got to be the first one. And I get that's their business. They want to get the most clicks, and obviously that's not us. So we'll get it out there sometime. Maybe this weekend if we're lucky.
Well, these are just conversations we would have normally, and we just decided one day to hey, we should record it.
We should record this
just for fun.
I'm sure other people are interested in what we're saying.
I did
all 5 of you are interested. So thanks guys for joining us here on the Credible Nerds podcast. We'll be back with episode 3. I guess that would be chapter
19,
17, 18, 19 of Mandalorian.
First thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Look
we're going to
for it.
watch it. But we won't
Wake
actually
up early.
do this show until next week probably.
Coming your way in 5 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Subscribe to the channel, please. Like if you've gotten this far in the review and you're still listening and watching, please like it. Please subscribe. It helps us out. It doesn't cost you anything. We appreciate the time you spent interacting with us. Comment on the video. Let us know what you think. And so we'll talk to you guys later, and may the force be with you.
Yeah. Night.
Night.